Where is Alan Greene? Fans have been asking that. And boy, did Alan Greene make himself known today to the local media and the national media as major breaking news gets tossed out to the media today. And it's not just the fan atmosphere and fan experience at Acrisure Stadium that's going to be changing, but more importantly, the overall structure of Pitt Athletics will be now changing going forward. And boy, was it a day. The overall breaking news from a letter and really an article from Alan Greene today is the adjustment from 68,700 seats in Acrisure Stadium down to 51,416 seats. We'll talk about where Pitt lands on that ranking in terms of the ACC, where they fall to, where it's 68,000 so seats, 69,000 seats, roughly about second in the ACC when it comes to capacity, but that certainly will drop after today. We'll read the letter from Alan Greene. We'll go through plenty of different comments here today. Obviously, when the super chats come in here tonight, we will certainly put that on the screen as well. We'll go over a bunch of stuff here tonight because there's plenty of different things, and this is really a special edition of a live stream here on Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. And of course, before we get into it here, Colonial Beer, sponsor of the show, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. Tremendous people, small business. Anytime you can help out great people in a small business in the city of Pittsburgh, it's always a major plus. Bill and Alan are truly two of the best people you're going to meet in this industry at all. They're great individuals, very successful for how hard they work, but more importantly, they're huge Pitt fans and huge Pitt supporters. Make sure you guys go see Colonial Beer today, located at 4986 Library Road in Bethel Park, PA, 15102. The show is also sponsored by Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson, an attorney on your side. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. You guys have gotten to meet Brian at the spring game, but more importantly, even recently, at the Pitt Meet and Greet at Celebrations Bar, Banquet, and Grill. He truly is the best. But another reason why he's the best is because he cares about you, the individual. Unlike a lot of larger law firms, he cares about the process for you from the beginning to the end. And he guides you through the process from beginning to end, getting you the results that you need in your case. Brian truly is the best, has a great family, comes from a great family, and does a lot of work and volunteer work in the community. Make sure if you have a question and if you have somebody that you need to call for any type of law question, make sure you call Thompson Law Group with Brian Thompson. Call them today at 724-799-8404 or visit them at thompsonattorney.com. I know the questions are flowing in here tonight. Already have one in here. Christopher Lawrence, thank you as always. Thank you for the super chat. And again, guys, we'll get to all the super chats here as we go on. And it's obviously a number of questions come in here. Are they going to sell advertising on the tarps? The answer to that question is indeed yes. Brian Thompson in here tonight, as always, yes. The answer to that is yes. Christopher Lawrence, thank you, sir, for the super chat. And again, we're going to go through a bunch of stuff here tonight and go through a number of different things. And we're going to read the letter and really break it down and talk about what we know and what we don't know and what Pitt will be doing in the future, because it was pretty groundbreaking news today. And I think really the one thing that really caught people's mind is the capacity to now Acrisure Stadium. It's pretty crazy. About 11:30 this morning, I had a text from two sources who said, hey, get ready for your eyeballs to drop at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And he goes, and the two people that really told me this were immediately like, the majority of people are going to like this. There's going to be some people that don't like it. And it's going to be the people that don't like it are the ones up in the upper deck. And I think it really has shown that way so far. Allegheny Anthony, the Tarp should say Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen or don't be a hoe, share the show. Allegheny Anthony, that is tremendous. But the problem is I don't have millions of dollars to offer Pitt for the sponsorships. And let me tell you, revenue generation is the most important thing in college athletics right now, besides recruitment to these college football teams. And let me tell you, it's a big sponsorship moment for Pitt, especially in the upper deck, because guess what? If it's not Notre Dame, Penn State, West Virginia, Clemson, even sometimes Miami, sometimes, not all the time like this past year, those seats really aren't used. And there's going to be a major opportunity for Pitt to sell sponsorships and make millions of dollars, as I've been told, and they are going to use those. A lot of negotiations went on with that, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, they play at Acrisure Stadium as well. We both lease that stadium. Could be somewhat a pain in the ass for the Steelers to take that stuff down or put it back up, depending upon what they need to do and when they're playing, when we're playing. So a lot of negotiations went into that, but yes, there will be sponsorships. And again, at the end of the day, it's revenue generation. Would we rather have those seats filled? Of course. But at least now we're not allowing those seats to sit empty during the majority of games. But before we get into it here, guys, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go over a number of things here today. Let me see here. John Waffle, super chat before hitting. So instead of firing dues and Capel and buildings on a smaller stadium, the best thing Greene can do is raise money as a tarp stadium. Pathetic. I mean, at the end of the day, John, I mean, I know you don't want to hear this, but I mean, he has broken records at Pitt for fundraising. You know, at the end of the day, Alan Greene is looking to coach right now in Jeff Capel, and he's talked about it with the local media here today that there's a higher standard at Pitt basketball, and Jeff Capel is not reaching it. You know, I think there was one thing that you wanted to hear was Alan Greene speaking, and here he is today. So you were mad that Alan Greene didn't speak. Then he does speak, and you're upset about that. At the end of the day, something has to change. Something really does. And I think that eventually the clock has started for Alan Greene and Jeff Capel and what happens there, and the same thing that goes for Pat Narduzzi, and if this will be his last year when it comes to being at the head football coach at the University of Pittsburgh. Dub Smith, I mean, it's not every game, but also, too, I mean, I'm not going to lie, though. I mean, I don't know. You guys put out numbers, though. I mean, you sold out for the Pitt game. Besides that, I mean, am I wrong? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think 51,000 is a lot better than 68, 69, 70,000. So, it's not bad. Again, Christopher, thank you for the super chat. John Waffle, thank you for the super chat. And we're going to put more in here. Let's see here. The TikTok man, I'm an upper decker. I don't mind it at all. And this is a great response, too, just from someone who sits up top. And again, plenty of people sit up top. I get it. It's going to be a major change, to say the least, but this is a good comment right here. I'm an upper decker. I don't mind it at all. It's a big meh for me. I'm hoping this gets running towards the new stadium. It's a good, very good comment. And I think it's kind of starting to push towards what are we building to 2030, because now I think 2030 is a big year. It's the last year of the lease at Acrisure Stadium. The Pittsburgh Steelers are obviously trying to get involved with major upgrades to Acrisure Stadium, certainly trying to find ways to really get a new stadium or try to finance an upgrade to the stadium. And of course, I think a lot of estimates were out there for roughly between $800 million to $900 million in terms of NFL requirements. They're certainly going to be asking the city of Pittsburgh and us taxpayers for a lot of changes. So it's going to be something to really pay attention to. Let's see here. So first off, number one, we're going to go through the actual letter. It's not a very long letter. We're going to read through it here real quick because I know some people, instead of having an assumption that everyone's read the letter, we are going to read the letter. So let me see here. Yeah, I don't know about that, Doug Smith. We've seen numbers where there's a lot of people missing in the crowd, so I don't know about that. I mean, that's kind of been a comment from a number of different people, and I think it's starting to catch up to people. So at the end of the day, if you even put those announced numbers into our stadium, just being honest, man, you're missing 16, 17, 18,000 people. The numbers are out. You know, just being honest with you. Let's see here. Share screen. All right, from the desk of Alan Greene, and we'll go through it here. Obviously, it's now up on the screen. First up, Panther Nation. Throughout my first 15 months as athletic director, I've had the privilege of listening to the heartbeat of Pitt Athletics. From conversations with student athletes to coaches to donors and fans, there's an acknowledgement that the landscape of college sports is changing faster than any point in history. Among the other things, revenue sharing, NIL, transfer portal, legal entanglements, and involving the NCAA regulations have fundamentally altered how we must operate. While much of the work required to rebuild our foundation hasn't always been visible, I want you to know it's been intentional and necessary. Over the past year, we restructured our leadership team to align with these new realities. We've added key personnel to modernize our internal operations, revenue generation, commercial enterprise, and philanthropic engagement. We're also enhancing our capabilities in NIL operations, data analytics, and multimedia storytelling. Additionally, we've realigned our philosophical approach ensuring every decision we make is grounded in supporting our student athletes while positioning Pitt to compete at the highest level. That positioning starts with the fan experience. One of the most consistent pieces of feedback I've received is about the game day experience at Acrisure Stadium. You've told me you want better home field advantage, one that ignites our team and reflects your passion for Pitt football. Throughout the last season, our administrative team carefully observed every aspect of the game day experience and identified key enhancements for 2026. Our goal is clear: transform Pitt football into a must-attend event, not just another game on the schedule. Today's announcement is just the first step in showing we're committed to being both creative and bold in pursuing every opportunity that strengthens our program. Beginning with the 2026 season, the upper east and west sides of Acrisure Stadium will be offline for Pitt football games, adjusting the capacity to 51,416 seats. The north end zone upper deck remains available, and student seating stays at 10,000 seats per game, which is pretty big in itself, preserving the Panther Pit at the heartbeat of our stadium environment. Existing upper-level season ticket holders will have the priority access to lower-level inventory that is currently available at comparable prices to the existing seats. Our priority is to create the best student, athlete, and fan experience for Pitt, and that's exactly what we're doing. This approach will deliver a more intimate, electric game day experience for our fans and an incredible atmosphere for our student athletes to compete in. We're excited to roll out the additional fan experience initiatives as the 2026 season approaches that will make the North Shore and Acrisure Stadium the place to be for college football in the fall. Transforming the game day experience is just one piece of the much larger vision. This spring semester, we will be developing a comprehensive strategic plan for the future of Pitt Athletics. This plan will serve as a guiding post as we continue to enter the 2026-2020 season and beyond, touching every aspect of our department and ensuring we're positioned for sustained success. The strategic plan will have 5 working groups focused on charting our course of action. Student athlete experience. Our student athletes are the heartbeat of everything that we do. From life skills, leadership development, and to compliance, support, and academic excellence, we're committed to providing comprehensive resources that help them thrive in competition in the classroom and in life. The opening of Victory Heights will transform the experience for many of our programs, providing a world-class facility that matches our championship ambitions. Competitive excellence, football, men's basketball, as he is finally acknowledging here. Football and men's basketball are the engines that drive the entire athletic department. We need to make sure these programs are supported and have the resources to match our expectations for their championship success. This includes navigating the new era of college athletics with comprehensive revenue sharing and NIL strategies that keep our student athletes supported and our programs competitive. Engagement and brand management. We're building a multimedia content ecosystem that tells the incredible stories of our student athletes and connects fans to Pitt Athletics like never before. From our game day atmosphere to digital storytelling, we're creating a touch points that showcase the pride and excellence of Pitt Athletics across platforms. Revenue generation and resource acquisition. We are reimagining our Panther Club, which totally needed redone, by the way. We have a number of comments I'm going to go through, but we're reimagining our Panther Club strategy to create deeper, more meaningful relationships with our donors while aligning with the university's broader campaign efforts. Your investment in Pitt Athletics has never been more critical. We're also focused on maximizing revenue across all of our programs to ensure that we have resources needed to compete at the highest level. Operational excellence. As we build the fiscal year 2027 budget and beyond, we're committed to fiscal responsibility and operational excellence while making smart strategic investments and maintaining the long-term financial health of our department. Success requires all of us moving in the same direction. It requires your investment and engagement. That's where the opportunity lies. When you invest in Pitt Athletics, you're investing in something bigger than yourself. You're part of a championship moments, unforgettable game day experiences, and the development of young people who will lead this community for generations. You will get to share in the pride and representing this university and this city on the national stage. For the businesses that call Pittsburgh home, there has never been a time to align your brand with Pitt Athletics. Our student athletes and programs and our platform offer meaningful partnership opportunities that connect you to the passionate fan base and community that takes pride in its teams. When Pitt Athletics succeeds, the city of Pittsburgh wins. I also want to hear from you. My team and I are here to serve our student athletes, but also you, our loyal fans. When you see me at a game or in the community, feel free to stop me and let me know when and how we're doing. You can also email me your feedback at this email address, and we will follow up. I have tremendous optimism about where we are headed. Our student athletes, coaches, and staff can come to work every day aiming to make you proud. The foundation we've built over the past 15 months positions us to compete, win, and represent the university and the city and its excellence. With your support, we are going to create something truly special here at Pitt. Let's build this together. Director of Athletics, Alan Greene, and of course, hail to Pitt. That is the full letter, guys. And I think when you read this, let's see here. Obviously, a number of things that are currently certainly changing. Let me see. I think we could probably just keep this up here. Yeah, Mark, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, hey, I guess 5 losing seasons in 7 years is good for them. I'm just seeing the comments now. That's pretty funny. Hey, some of us had different types of excellence, I guess. That's pretty funny in itself. But, hey, their averages, I guess, is our stadium capacity now. So, I mean, maybe that would fit them really well, too. This approach, again, guys, a number of different things. Number one, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I'm going to bring this up. Going to share the screen with you guys here. Let's see here. Well, because it's considering it's 10,000 less seats, and then you're still averaging less where you're not doing it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if we played in a 60,000 seat stadium, it'd probably be different too. So, at the end of the day, hey, you're focused on us. That's all we care about. At the end of the day, when you look at the overall capacity for each one of these teams, Pitt was second in the ACC in total capacity. Memorial Stadium, Clemson was number one at 81,500. Doak Campbell Stadium, Florida State, 67,000. Lane Stadium, Virginia Tech, 65,000. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, 65,000. Scott Stadium, Virginia, 61,500. L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium at Louisville was 60,000. Carter Finley Stadium, NC State at 56,000. Bobby Dodd Stadium at 55,000. California Memorial Stadium at 52,000. And then Pitt at number 10 out of, let's see here, out of 17 schools. Out of 17 schools, Pitt is currently now 10th at 51,416. That's just above Keene Memorial Stadium, North Carolina, who has 50,500 seats, above Stanford, Syracuse. Let's see here. Syracuse, Stanford, Boston College, SMU, whole bunch of teams at the bottom here. Still Wake Forest, all these other teams that are there. Yeah, Mark. Hey, at the end of the day, man, I guess I got to do something, because they're not winning on the football field, I guess. Another Wombat. Thank you, sir, for the super chat here. I just want Pitt to have good teams. I'm not a stadium expert. If you think they need tarps, I'll trust their judgment. The upcoming schedule looks favorable for football. I agree. And again, appreciate the comment. Number one, 51,416. If you look here at the numbers, the average ranking for Pitt when it came to average attendance per season in 2025, Pitt averaged 51,845 out of a 69,400 seat stadium. On 24, they averaged 53,077 fans. In 2023, they averaged 48,000. In 2022, they averaged 54,710. In 2021, they averaged 45,408. In 2019, 43,372. Obviously, 2020 is not in there because obviously the COVID year. 2018 averaged 41,696. 2017, they averaged 36,294. And then in 2016, they averaged 46,075. So the attendance has gone up every single year, which is really, really good for them. But I think personally, it just fits them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, would you rather have people in the seats? Obviously, yeah. But again, we were the second leading capacity in terms of the ACC. With plus, if you count in the suites, as the athletic department also mentioned, it's really 70,000 seats. Bringing that down to 51,000, I at this point, I really don't mind it because the Tarps will have sponsorships and more revenue generation. That's all, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Yeah, I mean, dude, at the end of the day, that's okay. That's okay, man. I really don't know what to tell you. It's not that big of a deal. Who cares? That should not be bothering you in life. I'm just being honest with you about other people and what their opinions are on what Pitt's doing. At the end of the day, we need to improve the game day experience. I agree with that 110%. And at the end of the day, Pitt fans care about winning. We're not attendance state. We're not looking to be attendance state. We want to make sure we're winning football games. And then when we're winning football games and things become more competitive in terms of consistently winning 9, 10, 11 games, this stuff will change. But you cannot sit here right now and say, you're more than willing to keep up the open seats. At the end of the day, at least make money for them. Also too, I do feel bad for teams and for people that are up in the upper level. I get it. We've seen some stories today where people have been up there, for the last 15 years. I get that. But also too, you do have to change the dynamics. Most teams, as you're seeing, if you look in the rankings of the ACC, they're really at that 60,000 mark, 56, 55, 52. Indiana University just won a national title. They're at 54, 55,000. I think that's totally fine. We're in the city of Pittsburgh. We are in a very competitive market with the Pittsburgh Steelers, even the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Pirates. Heck, even the Steelers don't sell out every game. They're right around that 66, 67,000 fans per game, And I think that's, at the end of the day, would you rather have it rocking at 110%? Yeah, but I don't mind what they're doing. At least we're going to make money for it now. That's the biggest thing. You want to make revenue. Let's see here. Going back here though, appreciate the super chat as always. You guys are hilarious in the comment section right now. Henny's firing off a bunch of comments here. Henny always here. Let's see here. Yeah, hey, at the end of the day, I guess it's good for the views, though. I guess you know what I mean. What the heck? Michael, very good comment here too. Northwestern's new stadium is 35,000 capacity. In general, city universities don't draw large attendance. Rural universities have a higher average attendance, and I agree. The numbers are all there. The rural ones do, and even for these teams that have the whole entire state, kind of shocked they only have a 60,000, 65, 70,000 seat stadium. But at the end of the day, the good thing for Pitt, at least we're not in all of bleacher seating. We still have the premium seating all the way around the club sections. That's the biggest thing. All the amenities are still there. I think one is going to draw more people to the University of Pittsburgh to grow this thing. Now, also too, I get it. We're going to have tarps up there. That is going to look annoying, especially when you're first starting. But as a lot of people have said online and just reading some of the comments, I do agree with what people are saying. This should have been done years ago to build this up faster. And I do give Alan Greene credit. At the end of the day, the one thing that fixes all is winning 9, 10, 11 games consistently. And Pat Narduzzi has not done that. He's won 11 games. Really, what? 11 games once? 11 games once, 10 games once. Really, I think you look at it and you say to yourself, he's been ranked, what? Out of the 11 years he's been here, he's been ranked in 7 of those years. 7 of those years, and I think he's finished ranked 3 of those years. But you need more consistency. And I think that's going to be the next question that's really on the docket for Pitt is what's the future hold for Jeff Capel and what's the future hold for Pat Narduzzi? It's a pretty important, really important question going forward. But the good thing is, though, you look at what Alan Greene's saying here. It is really good, though, acknowledging, hey, the horses that run are football and basketball. And it's good to see that because a lot of teams, even in the Big Ten right now, they may be really good at football, but they're struggling in basketball. I do like how Pitt really cares about trying it and, more importantly, looking to invest more money into football and basketball. We're also going to here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys again just to look at some of the stuff that's here. Another super chat coming in. Get used to seats moving around. Figure there will be reno of some type soon that'll affect seats too. Think it'll look look okay with a big script and sponsor money. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, at least they're getting money for it. You know what I mean? Instead of having just open seats that are just sitting there and that no one's looking to get, you're making money from it. And then preferably, more than likely, because of one, it's on both sides, you're going to get millions of dollars in terms of sponsorship money, which is what I was told as well. I do give Alan Greene credit, though. At least he's trying something, But at the end of the day, the cure-all is winning football games, and Pat Narduzzi has to be better at that, in my personal opinion. Winning cures all. That's just a fact. But very good comment here. And again, thank you guys all for the super chats. I'm going to make sure we watch here the super chats that come in as they pop up on the screen. UCLA uses tarps at the Rose Bowl. That's a very good point. Very good point, actually. Let me see. Going to share my screen here, pull this back up, and really look at a number of different things that he talked about, and we're really just breaking it down at this point. Number one, the initiative here. Competitive excellence, football, men's basketball. That's what you want to hear. I mean, at the end of the day, and I know people are going to be upset about it whenever he says this, but football, men's basketball are the total revenue drivers. I'd even put volleyball in there just because of how successful they've been. But football, men's basketball are the engines that drive our entire athletic department. We need to make sure that these programs are supported and have the resources to match our expectations for the championship success. Again, comprehensive revenue sharing, NIL strategies that keep our student athletes supported and programs competitive. Again, we've talked about this before. He broke a record last year when it came to fundraising. He's doing the same exact thing this year. And I've heard that from donors and the multiple levels in terms of donating at the University of Pittsburgh, on top of not just the athletic department. Hearing that from multiple people is a really good thing. The question is, though, while you're doing a good job of that and you're trying to involve yourself in the revenue, your revenue generation, but, your revenue share, your NIL, how you're using those funds. And again, a lot of it has to do, and there's some good comments in here right now, that it's also up to Pat Narduzzi to spend that money. I think in a world right now, he's very much involved with keeping guys at a certain level and how much money they make, because we want to use, an aspect in a team culture of, well, we're not going to pay them all this money because we want them to stay motivated. It's just not how it works in college football. They did a really good job of keeping Mason Heinchel away from, Miami and Ole Miss, which is really good. But I think overall that can get better. And I think that Pat Narduzzi needs to get better at that, in terms of being competitive and keeping players on this roster. Luckily, we only lost, 4 or 5 starters on this football team. I think 4 starters overall. Not going to complain too much about it. The one that's really, truly irreplaceable, in my opinion, is Rasheem Biles. Engagement and brand management, revenue generation, and resource acquisition. I do like how they're reimagining the Panther Club, because I've heard from Panther Club members, donors, that the Panther Club has been an issue for decades. This is another thing that I'm giving Alan Greene credit for. You have to dive into this, because Heather was so far behind, not even remotely. This whole line right here, revenue generation and resource acquisition. Under no circumstance was ever Heather even remotely looking at that or even considering that at any point. That's just a fact. USC also uses tarps in the Coliseum. I do agree with that. Let me see. Looking at a bunch of stuff here. Volleyball has to make money with 5 straight Final Fours. They do. Is Tepper getting involved? Yes, he has been with basketball, especially. Gov here. Sad, hard truth. Pitt plays in a facility that it's a fit for size or that isn't. I'm sorry. Pitt plays in a facility that it's a fit for size or geography, and that it's been the case for 25 years. Now play the hand you're dealt. Leverage amenities, engage the crowd, and win. This is another very good comment here, too, from Gov, which is a complete and utter fact. 3 components. Leverage your amenities. You're in a great facility for college football, as you have individual seating. You don't have bleacher seating. We don't have to deal with that, which is awesome, because it's truly annoying. We've gone to other stadiums where they have bleacher seating, which is absolutely horrible. It's great to have the individual seating. It's great to have the club areas, premium seating in both end zones. You still have club areas all the way around in that section. You also have all of your suites all the way around, so Pitt's not losing. If anything, gaining more money in those areas because of the premium seating that we have, which is really good. Also, engaging the crowd with everyone really compacted down below. You have a really good opportunity to really sell yourself to where you're averaging that 48 to 51,000, 52,000, depending upon their standing room. Still waiting to hear back from Pitt on that. But this is a great way to really start engaging this kind of stuff and really building it. You have to do something. You have to build this thing where you've got to start building really more, how do I want to say this? Building more angst and building more interest into Pitt football, in my opinion. And I think that this is a great way to start. But also, too, and there was a comment earlier on, I really do think this is a very strategic move for the future. They also are, if I'm not mistaken, they said they're going to be reseeding. That was another comment I saw in the chat. Trying to see here. Let me see. Dub, I don't know, man. We beat you guys up here twice up here in our stadium. It was pretty loud. You guys had 9 or 10 false starts. It's got to be pretty loud then. I don't know. Berg Fanatic, winning solves all. I do agree. RJC, man. I was no fan of but when she wanted to tarp the seats, Narduzzi stated she needs to stay in her lane. Greene forcing his will is nice to see. That's another thing. At the end of the day, I'm happy to see Alan Greene doing what he wants to do and pretty much telling Pat Narduzzi, and again, I know he put out a comment today saying, he agreed with it or is with Alan Greene on it. At the end of the day, Alan Greene's not asking. He's going to do what he wants to do, and he's going to do what's best for Pitt football in the long term, but more importantly, building revenue. At the end of the day, guys, everything's about building revenue at this point. When you're incurring so many more expenses, look how bad Rutgers is doing right now. They're over $500 million in the red. They are so far in deep that they got to find extra ways to build revenue. That's a fact. Let me see here. I'm trying to see here. Do you think they'll take the tarps down for big games? Probably not for this year. I think because they want to right size it and then do a lot of stuff with pricing. I'd imagine probably in 2029, maybe 2028, you start seeing something like that to where they really open it up. But unless the demand is there, I really don't know if it's ever going to be online. Unless there's an actual true demand for 60,000 plus, then you open it up. And I think that if there's demand for 60,000 plus, they'll open it up for single game tickets up top, in my opinion. But season tickets, all single game tickets going forward as we start to enter 2026, the football season in the fall, it's really based upon certainly on just the 51,416 is how I was told of it. Let me see here. I hope Hines buys the tarps for old time's sake. Hey, whoever gives us the most money, man, that's all I care about. That's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. Let me see here. All right, so I don't see any more super chats. Let me go back to the engagement here. Revenue generation and resource acquisition. So number one, Panther Club needs redone. I'm glad someone's finally doing it. We've brought upon how many different people to the executive room in terms of Pitt Athletics, which Alan Greene has been a part of, which we have talked about on here before. A lot of work being done behind the scenes, and he talks about that here. Also, too, we're focused on maximizing revenue across all programs to ensure we have the resources we need. Also, too, university broader campaign efforts, meaningful relationships. And then also here, he actually has a comment. Trying to see where it was at again. Let's see here. I can't remember where it's at in here, but obviously he talks about how, here. Sources requires us moving off in the same direction. It requires your investment and engagement. There were opportunities aligned. You're part of unforgettable game day experiences, all this stuff. For the businesses that call Pittsburgh home, this has been a major focus, in my understanding, since December, is attacking the NIL spectrum. Pitt has done a good job, and Alan Greene has done a good job of donations to use that revenue share and to boost the revenue share to where we're now at the cap. But to be competitive to a very high degree, you need the NIL money. And that comes in more with businesses, corporate sponsorships. How does he even put it here? Partnership opportunities. That's really the biggest thing that you'll see there that they need to work on. Okay. And I think he's been very opportunistic in that, where he has talked about that. Let me see if he has in here. Yeah, commercial revenue generation, internal operations, commercial enterprise, philanthropic engagement. We're also enhancing our capabilities in NIL operations, data analytics. Also, this was very new to me. I have not heard anything about this until this came out. A lot of this here, multimedia storytelling. I talked about 93.7 The Fan in terms of what Pitt does with its station. This kind of really tells me that they're working on something behind the scenes on doing their own thing now, to where now they'll have their own station. They're doing their own thing. They can certainly use the Pitt studios, which cost millions of dollars that we paid for. I think that would be great. You know, it'd be cool to see Doran Dickerson in there. Guys run that whole department in terms of what they're doing. But again, philosophical approach, ensuring every decision we make is grounded supporting the student athletes while positioning Pitt to compete at the highest level. There's a lot of this stuff. Also, too, this is kind of a shot, in my opinion, at Heather Lyke. We've added key personnel to modernize our internal operations. That is pretty much a direct shot at the previous, not just Heather Lyke, but even before that we were behind in a number of areas. In 15 months, he had to work from behind the scenes to really change that. And I think it's very obvious that he had to work to change that. Let's see here. How does the new seating impact? Club seating? Rich, it does not. That's myself, Brian, everyone. We all sit in the club. That does not change anything in the club area. The club area is all right there, so nothing really changes. Nothing changes in the stadium besides the two upper decks on each side, the east and west side. That's it. It's basically off limits, and then everything else. The 51,000 plus the one open side of the end zone there for all the students, because you have a 10,000 allotment, which the Panther Pit's been great. If you guys remember about like 10 years ago what the Panther Pit looked like, it looked horrific. Now, actually, they're selling that thing out every single time. Now we need to work upon, getting rid of, me personally, I don't want to hear Sweet Caroline at the end of the third quarter. I'd rather hear it at the end of the game after a win, and, have something more, really upbeat, very edgy at the end of the third quarter. It's a lot. The Steelers have Renegade. That's something that you have there. I think a lot of that stuff can change. But when it comes to club seating, nothing's going to change there. At the end of this season in 2027, starting then, you'll have to pick your seats again. That's kind of how it has to be. And again, they'll do a whole, basically, figuring out where everyone's sitting at. You'll pick your seats again. You'll have your same seats. I'll obviously bring everyone down from up top, filling that all in, and then also, too, figuring out where you have your single game tickets at on top of that. Let's see here. Making sure here. I apologize if I missed any super chats. No, I didn't. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I thought I missed one there. 20 years. Eric Dengler, 20 years in section 132. I should not have to move. What? 132? 132 is in the bottom row, right? In the bottom bowl. You're not going to have to move. Let's see here. Number of comments in here. Yeah, it's another one too. Again, seats moving around. Your seats are going to be where you are right now. It's just bringing those extra people from up top and then figuring out, okay, how can we put all these people together, fill out the bottom, and then eventually when time starts to really roll and you start to win more, If you got to go on the up top, you build it back up top. But I think by that time, to be honest with you, I think this move is pretty strategic in terms of what the future holds for Pitt in terms of their own facility. I'm just being honest. I mean, there's a lot of things that are really falling into place, and things that I've been told from donors, things I've been told from the Pitt Athletic Department. This is all kind of stirring into that, hey, we're getting ready to go into a right-sized facility. And I thought Gov had a really good comment there too. Let me see here. RJC Man 38, 132 behind the Pitt bench seats in the house, 50-yard line seats. Yeah, very good seats. Those are always really good. If I have to pick in 2027. No, you don't have to pick in 2027. Let me see here. You don't have to pick in 20. I mean, you're basically what you're doing is just picking your seats again. So obviously what they're doing is like fixing pricing, stuff like that from people that come up top, but they're going to have like first bid to where you go and you pick all you have to do is just pick your seats again. Instead of having someone send something to you where you have your seats, you're basically just hand picking your seats, the same seats you have again, and then they're filling it out as they go and figure out where they have the single game tickets at. That's all it is. I mean, the band, I don't expect the band to move. I mean, it's going to probably stay the same. I don't see why it would move, where it would move. RJC Man, Capel has killed basketball. How do we recoup the losses going back to 2018? At the end of the day, man, he's on the clock with Alan Greene, man. And I think it's starting to come to a point. It was great. A-Pick got a win the other day. But I think he's had a lot of time. But I also do give him a little bit of slack because I think that with Heather Lyke here, we didn't have all those resources that we do this season. And then obviously the top 5 class that we have, I think it's top 6 basketball recruiting class going into next year. I mean, all those guys getting paid, man. All those resources are now because of Alan Greene. I mean, that's kind of the facts that we have to really pay attention to. The problem that I have with Alan Greene, with Jeff Capel, is that when your guys aren't even making layups or free throws, the easy stuff. I mean, it's college basketball, man. It's not, it's college basketball. You got to do what you have to do. I mean, the basic stuff. I think that they have really struggled with that. And the overall offense schematically. I think, again, I'm not a basketball guy. When you can watch that game in person and you're like, okay, no one's moving. There's no movement at all on the floor. There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. That's clearly a coaching problem. There's a number of things that I look at and say, okay, they're definite coaching problems. And I think that's where Jeff Capel is going to get into a little bit of issue. Thanks, JJ. Understood. Yes, sir. As always. Going back to here. Let me see here. Throughout my first 15 months, we already did that. And then we have operational excellence as we build for our fiscal year 2027 budget and beyond. We're committed to fiscal responsibility and operational excellence, yada, 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 while making smart, strategic investments and maintaining the long-term financial health of our department. Again, all makes sense. That's all, what we expect them to put in there. Again, I think going forward, guys, the way that I really look at this, in my opinion, is that at least they're trying something. Because here's the thing. If it doesn't work out this year, here's the reality of it. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to the old way of doing things. It's not that, it's not that crazy to go back and just do what we were doing and open up both the upper decks on both sides. I mean, it's not really that hard. But I do appreciate him going out and trying something different to create more interest and more desire. And obviously, too, this is going to really spark people buying more season tickets because you have to get your tickets now. It's that simple. Because you're going to want to pick your spot around where you are in the obviously in the lower bowl. That's just a fact. Also, it goes with the donations that go with it, the NIL, probably the fees that are on there, whatever it is. Obviously, the donations that we pick and we have to donate every year for our season tickets. It's only going to help build generation and revenue generation. It's that simple. Rich, so it's likely now that Jeff Capel will return for a 9th season. I don't know, Rich. I'm going to be honest with you. the way the season's going, and then to listen to Alan Greene talk today about how they have a high standard for Pitt basketball, and Jeff Capel is not reaching it right now. Again, was a little shocked to see him go out there and just say it right off the cuff, right out of the gate. But I really don't know, man. I really, really think if I'm a betting man right now, and from hearing people from inside the athletic department, it's very clear that he's on the hot seat. I really do believe there could potentially be a change. The only way that there's not a change, in my opinion, is because the class they have coming in, the 3 superstars they have coming into this class, which has allowed them to build a top 6 class in college basketball, but also, too, Jay Kuntz, man, I think he is the wild card in this whole entire thing. He's done a great job. St. John's tried to get him back before he came to Pitt. They've been trying to get him back in terms of finding talent. He's really good at it. He's a really good in terms of being a recruiter as well. I think he's going to do a really good job here. That may be another reason, too, to give Capel another year with his players, and having a general manager pick the talent. But does Alan Greene believe that those players are going to get developed? That's the question. I think internally they're having those conversations. And again, Pitt's had some bad losses this year, man. You got to be better than what you were, and your record is what you are. You look around even college football. I always say it, man. Pitt finished this year, what was it, 8-5? They were 8-4 in the regular season. You're 8-4, 8-5 team. Whether you're North Carolina, they won 2 or 3 games this year. That was it. That's the type of team you are. That's just how it is. Very good comment here from Henny. Sucks. Jay Kuntz got hired after the portal. I'm very excited for the transfer portal this season. I think we pick up great talent. That's another thing, too, that I was really informed on, because I know the football calendar. I'm not very much versed in terms of the basketball calendar when the transfer portal opens. It was informed to me that he was hired after the portal closed. So the players that were here were, handpicked by Capel and his staff. If I'm a betting man, I think Jay would probably pick a lot of different guys than what Jeff picked. And obviously he's done a great job so far by picking up 3 4-star prospects, top 100 players out of the high school ranks. I personally think, just because of how that guy is, and from talking to people outside the program and talking about where he's been, even West Virginia fans that have talked about Jay and how well he was pretty much Bobby Huggins' right-hand man. I think he's done a good job over time, and he did a really good job, especially when he was teamed up with Pitino and St. John. So fun to watch. Is it a matter of not handling this era of changing over rosters year after year, or beyond that? I mean, at the end of the day, it's finding the right talent, and also, the kid out of Iowa State that came here, big guy. I think it was a power forward. He got rolled ineligible because of a medical problem. That kind of hurt them a lot. That's a big guy underneath, but does it change the way this team really functions? I don't think so. I think it really does help out a lot for what Pitt wanted to do defensively, but it does go beyond that to where, Pitt now has the resources, but you got to use them too. There has to be something about that. Thank you, Pitt fan. Hello, Pitt. Deshaun Jackson. Thank you. Great basketball player. Played how many years at Iowa State? I don't know how he comes here and then he's ineligible. Good comment here, IG. In my opinion, tarping the lower capacity is a good first step to gauge atmosphere and attendance, and ultimately develop a Pitt stadium tailored and branded exclusively to Pitt. I don't know, man. I'm just, you look at this move, man, it does seem like it's kind of tailored to that, and again, from everything I've been seeing on here for years, what's going to happen especially down the line. The last year that, the lease is up in 2030, and do they want to renew? This really looks like a plan of, okay, how do we just grab this and then land it over to our own facility? We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Can JC retain his best young players, assuming he returns? I think so, because they like playing for him. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, here's what I can tell you. I think the young superstar from overseas, he looks like he's coming into his own. I expect him to be back. And then really, I think 2 more players on the roster from what I've heard. And then after that, they're going after a bunch of guys in the portal, This is so great. I'm not even going to read it, but it is a great comment. Great comment. Appreciate you, Gov. Man, we've already been on here for 50 minutes. Guys, I think we talked about it enough. At the end of the day, Pitt's doing this for revenue generation. Obviously, the sponsorships that go up top. If they give him another year where they finally force Cable to make a staff change, there's going to be, I would not have, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if a staff change happens if he does come back. But also, too, Alan Greene's judging this guy. It's very simple. If Greene pulls off getting an on-campus stadium, he would be a legend forever, and I think that will motivate him to get it done. Plus, he'd be able to get any job he wants. To be honest with you, man, people talk about the on-campus stadium. I could care less about if it's on campus. Just, I'd like just to have our own place closer to campus, but it doesn't have to be on campus. I don't care about that, but I agree. It'd be nice, have your own place and be away from all the other stuff and not have to be a necessity and, to have a stadium over the North Shore. Hail to Pitt. Hail to Pittsburgh. Thank you for the super chat here, sir. You're a dog, bro. I went to Pitt and had to move out of the city, but you always keep me super informed. Appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing. Well, first off, thank you as always for the super chat. Thank you for the support of the show as always. Man, even in the tough times, we love talking about Pitt, but I'm just happy overall, man, to where we truly have at least someone that's developing a plan. And I've said it before on here, and you guys, and I'm not saying you, Hail to Pittsburgh, but the people that are on here that comment on here sometimes, it's usually about 2 or 3 people. They wanted to hear from Alan Greene. Well, here you are. He talked to reporters for over an hour today. Pitt fan, Hail to Pitt. Roman seems to be growing. Yeah, that's a kid I'm talking about too. Yeah, it'd be really good to hold on to. It's very clear, at least, there's a guy that actually has a plan. And it has done a great job of getting actual funds to the University of Pittsburgh with donations. When the Scripps Society members are talking about it, when the Golden Panthers are talking about it, there's a lot of stuff going on that says, okay, hey, he's doing what he needs to do behind the scenes, but it just takes time because we were so far behind because the last administration really didn't buy into any of this stuff. So truly, hail to Pittsburgh. Thank you for the super chat again. And thank you, as always, for your support, man. And sorry you had to move out of the city, though, man. Hopefully get you back to some of the games here at Acrisure Stadium. And then when you are in town, man, just hit us up. We'll be there. David, good to see you, brother. USC, UCLA, Miami have all taped off part of their seats. Not a big deal. I agree. Obviously, the Oakland Raiders were well known for it. The Oakland Raiders, I think at Three River Stadium, we had tarps there for what was it? The Steelers and the Pirates, I guess. So a very good one. But again, thank you, sir, for the super chat as always. See here, looking at any more comments here. I don't see anything. Guys, at the end of the day, it was a major, major news day when that text came in at like 11:30. In my mind, I was like, man, it's going to be a very wild news day, to say the least, for Pitt Athletics and talking about all this. But at least there is a plan. We'll see how it goes this year. And again, if it just fails miserably, they'll probably go back to the way it was. But if it actually does work and there's a reason for this and a rhyme and a reason, and it does make a difference, and they're kind of setting themselves up for that 2029, 2030 season where potentially they may have their own facility, hey, then it all makes sense. But there's clearly a plan at play, unlike a lot of what we saw that Heather liked. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of pros to this decision, but there's also cons to this decision. At the end of the day, you got to win football games. Winning cures all. So that's what it comes down to. And Pat Narduzzi needs to be better. Well, I don't see any more super chats in here, guys. As always, thank you for tuning in to a special edition of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. I'll be back on Sunday with Harry Paceris and Eric Dudek out of the Bird Cave. Obviously, Harry Paceris out of Pittsburgh Sports Now. We'll be back on Sunday and really breaking down and getting their thoughts on this whole move and where we go into the offseason. So again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Of course, it looks like February 28th is going to be the next Pitt meet and greet. A lot of former Pitt players looking to be there. It's going to be a really good time. We'll start really putting stuff out, and then we'll put stuff on here and really get to really start putting things out. Really, like we're probably like 2 weeks away, 1 week away, but it looks like February 28th, which is a Saturday from 2 to 5, looks to be the time and place where we're going to have the next Pitt meet and greet. And we're gonna. It sounds like from what the response that we're getting, it's going to be a lot more than we had before, which was pretty awesome, 70 plus, which will obviously be a lot of fun. So, guys, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen. As always and forever, hail to Pitt. We'll see you at the Sunday conversation. I'll see you guys next time.